We've got Lonrho moving, as I said, from the venture capital market onto the Altex today. Why the move?
Well, Lonrho's been developing its strategy across the continent on a quite fast-paced trajectory since 2005. And we felt now was the right time that we re-established our presence on the more formal part of the Johannesburg Stock Exchange. In fact, we've been a member of the exchange for something like 42 years now, but we had been moved down to the VCM in, I think, 2001. We're now reaching the stage in our growth that we felt it was right time to be back on Altex, hence the timing.
Of course, increasing then your exposure as well to that investment community and what you actually stand for. So let's take a look at what the investor would actually be buying into here. What's the investment case that Lonrho presents?
Well, Lonrho simply is a distributed conglomerate playing across the whole of sub-Saharan Africa. We play in 5 different sectors. In agriculture, which is our largest and fastest growing, in infrastructure, in transportation through our airline, Fly 540, in IT and water, and last but certainly not least, in the hotel sector. So what we offer the investor is the ability to participate in multiple sectors and therefore a diversification of risk across those sectors, as well as multiple markets. Lonrho today is trading in 23 different sub-Saharan markets, and so the investor gets a play across 23 markets and across 5 sectors.
Well, having said that, we are looking at a more refined structure, aren't we? Because we've seen Lonrho go through an entire restructuring phase since 1995 and almost consolidation happening within the company.
Well, that's right. The history is fascinating. In fact, Lonrho is now 109 years old, and you're right, from roughly 1995 through to 2005, the business was downsized to the point where actually it was left with just one hotel and its brand name in 2005. And since then, we've been on a strategy of both organic growth and acquisition to begin to rebuild the old Lonrho, which many of you will be familiar with from the 80s, the 90s, and the success stories of Tiny Roland.
Oh, of course, tapping into the African growth story where we're looking at a forecasted GDP growth of around about 5% for this year. How exactly does South Africa fit into that strategy?
Well, South Africa is vital for us. It's the heart of our agricultural sector. We have our logistics business, Rolex, based here, as well as our very fast-growing seafood business, Ocean Fresh, also headquartered here in South Africa. Further, we also have a affordable housing and prefabricated building unit called Quick Build, based in Cape Town. So today, South Africa is the largest part of our group, and hence why the increased prominence through the move to Altex.
Well, let's pick up on just 2 of those investments just because of the context, the operating environment that we find ourselves in right now. The one is Ocean Fresh because it's launched its own brand of coated fish items with Macro, so a view to expanding operations within the Massmart group specifically. How are you viewing the Massmart Walmart scenario right now, and what does that bring to the table for you in terms of the investment you've made there?
Well, I think it's a very exciting move, Walmart coming into Africa and into South Africa. The opportunities, obviously, with Macro was already there for Ocean Fresh before Walmart's involvement. But what it potentially allows us to do is to get exposure to the wider Walmart group globally on the back of our relationship with Macro. I think Walmart will bring increased support and investment into Massmart, and that will further our opportunities with Ocean Fresh and indeed with our fruit and veg business, where we also have Macro as a customer.
Of course, when you're looking at this business, a lot of focus placed on that export market and, you know, the kind of potential you're actually catering to on a global scale moving on. What are some of the challenges that present itself? Because one of the chief concerns has been pipeline to actually getting product, whether it be within the mining space or commodities or agri product out there because of infrastructure constraints.
Well, we found, at least on the fish side, the infrastructure to be present and actually very supportive. The South African and Namibian fishing industry and the sourcing of product from those has actually worked very well for us and continues to work very well. In terms of agriculture itself, much of our product is sourced from outside South Africa. It's sourced from Zambia, from Zimbabwe, from Mozambique. And there we have a fleet of almost 70 vehicles moving product up and down between those markets. And we found actually the road infrastructure works perfectly well for us, and we're able to move as much product as we would like to support those export markets.
Of course, you touched on the fact that your investments are within the infrastructure space as well, and QuickBuild is one of those keys that you've touched on. It's won a lot of government projects in South Africa. Just how much good stead does that hold you in a reliance on government projects, where in the past there have been problems, for example, with payment?
Well, that's a good point. I think we have found the need to look to diversify our strategy with QuickBuild, and have added an international sales team who have helped us to win new contracts in Kenya and in Malawi already this year, a new contract in Angola. And hence we're looking to diversify our customer base, both internationally away from South Africa and also within South Africa towards, say, the mining sector and other commercial sectors. Whilst not wanting to lose our government contracts, we feel it's a wise strategy to diversify as well.
Where do you see the next hotspot being? Are you dedicated to these 5 sectors primarily, or are you looking to open up and diversify even further?
I think at this stage we're looking to further develop the 5 sectors we've got. Our fastest growing business clearly at the moment is agriculture. And we're seeing opportunities, I mentioned, in the fish sector, but particularly for fruit and veg as well, sourced from countries where the agriculture sector has probably been underinvested in the past. Angola, Mozambique, Zambia are all markets where we see substantial additional opportunities, and that's where we are spending our time and investment at the moment.
Of course, listing today follows your admission to the main market of the LSE over in London at the start of this month. What kind of response have you harnessed over on that end from the investment community there?
That's been very positive, actually. What we've discovered is that we have now got a number of new UK and US institutional investors who wish to participate in Lonrho's equity, who perhaps when we were on AIM perhaps hadn't noticed this, or perhaps it wasn't a suitable investment for them. We've also attracted further attention from the broker and analyst community, and that's always welcome in terms of furthering the message and understanding about the business.